Good afternoon, class. My name is Toby and today I'll be doing my presentation over at the York Country Club for the 2015 spring semester for our public relations portfolio. Today I'll be telling you guys a little bit more about why I chose this organization, some of the public relations strategies that I wanted to implement, some of the research and some of the things that I learned while studying this organization, and some of the things that I want to see for the future outcome for it. So let's get started. So one of the reasons why I chose this organization is it has kind of a close place in its heart, or in my heart, to me. Ever since I moved here to York, Nebraska, I've been a member since around 2005, so ever since I was a pretty young boy. And I'm an avid golfer. I've really fell in love with the sport. And the York Country Club has actually been a previous employer of mine. Over the last couple of years I've been working there, and I really enjoy it. And some of the reasons why I also chose it is I see that there's not a lot of public relations experience as far as that business goes. They don't really have a lot of a budget for it. They don't really try to particularly advertise. And so I really see that there has a lot of potential for growth because they run it very traditionally and they aren't necessarily in the media market just yet. So moving on here, what the importance of YCC is to the city of York. So it's been rooted in the history of York for a long time. It was established in 1919 and actually made it through the Great Depression and actually was revitalized by Dean Sack, who we all know has taken good care of the York College over all those years. And it provides an 18-hole championship golf course, which is difficult to find in a smaller town market like Nebraska cities have. The majority of smaller towns, similar in comparison to the size of York, can only sustain a 9-hole golf course that's substantially shorter and isn't up to the quality that this course can bring, which is important for the game of golf as a whole because Nebraska's game is sustaining, but it's not increasing at this time. So, some of the areas for improvements that I've targeted specifically was customer and golfer acquisition, some of the advertising styles, some of the media integration, and some of the streamlining of communications that they can improve on. So, an issue being faced currently with the game of golf is that the game of golf is declining as a whole. The millennial generation, our generation, seems to have less interest in the game of golf. So in 2003, the game of golf hit its peak amount of players, and there was 30 million golfers at that time. But over the last 10 years, the game of golf has hovered around 25 million, so a slight decrease. But the one good statistic in that is that the percentage of golfers who play regularly and have a passion for the game, that percentage has continued to increase. So as a whole, the amount of golfers that show interest in the game are still playing the game. It's just there's a less market overall for them. So this has some challenges in itself if you're running a golf course, and that's really kind of your main revenue stream. So another difficult factor that they're facing is a small town market. It's difficult to have an operation that is trying to expand and grow rapidly when that clientele percentage is so small because it's kind of a niche sport as the number of golfers go down but the population continues to increase. And the demographics of York don't particularly make it the easiest to grow. York has a very low income relative to other cities, and golf is kind of considered a luxury sport at this time, and so the cost is always considered when people think of the game of golf and think about possibly playing the game of golf is the expense. So for one, the first thing that I noticed when I was trying to do some advertising studies on the York Country Club was they don't have really any traditional advertising. There's no real signs, there's no real directions or anything pointing to where they are. And I think that for us that live in town, we know where the golf course is, but for people that might be passing through that maybe want to know more about York, they don't have any idea that we actually have this quality of a golf course in such a small town. So for instance, when you're driving from Highway 81 or Interstate 80, you see all the signs that say point right to York College. Well, I mean, something as simple as that just shows that we have a golf course can spark interest for future travelers or future people that really just want to maybe try out the sport. So the other aspect that they also could improve on is the digital era of golf. So basically, right now, York Country Club has no way to digitally book tee times. They do things very traditionally, as in you can only do it in about a week advance. You phone into the pro shop, you set your tee time, and they might tell you if it's booked or it's not, or anything like that. There's no real way to check the future schedules, to check the tee times, anything like that. So for instance, one of the big competitors in the online booking, golfnow.com, the other day when I was doing the research, I go to the Nebraska tee times, or to book a tee time. I go, and the only market there is the Omaha market, and then out west when there's a lot of those other private courses. There's no indication anywhere online that the York Country Club is in the center of Nebraska, which when we're located off of two major highways and interstates, that is a lot of traffic that's driving right past you that you are kind of missing out. Golfer acquisition is mainly about really the enjoyment of the course, and a lot of times when you have a good experience on the course, you want to return to the course, and that's the way that you can continuing building that customer base. So yeah, this allows visitors who may not have local knowledge of the course to discover the course, because discovery is a big part about golf. And for our class project, we had to conduct a survey in which we could help our organization answer a problem which would tailor their advertising. So my research question that I asked for SurveyMonkey to do was, how can we get more membership from YC students alone? So this would fall into millennial acquisition, because since that is our target audience that is dwindling in the game of golf, that if we can get more people our age involved into it, it will only grow the sport for futures to come. So with that question in mind, the primary deterrent factors that I found out was cost factor, skill level, time, location, and interest. Cost factor is obviously a big part of this. Skill level, you got to practice to get better, but time was also one of the other majors. It was tied with cost factor as the most crucial part or deterrent to the game. So my findings were showing that 80% of students surveyed actually had played golf before. So that's a good thing, that they have played the game and they still didn't say they hated the game. Cost and time were equal ties, like I said, for hindrance. And 80% of the students, though, were familiar with York Country Club. However, this is where the kicker came in, and the research really showed a lot, was that York Country Club offers exclusive promotions for college students at a discounted price, extremely discounted membership. And none of the students that took the survey were actually aware that that membership price was available at YC students. I believe last year it was around $120, and they raised it to $200, but that's for the year. So to put that in perspective, a family membership, if your family lived here and you wanted to be a full-time member, just say you have a family of 4, there's a $1,000 initiation fee, and then I think it's like $1,600 to $1,700 a year. So it's over $160 a month that you'd be paying for a family membership, and that's just what traditional members even pay. So the fact that a York College student can go out there, pay $214, and have golf, free golf, really that covers all your fees for a whole year, is a pretty ludicrous discount that no one actually takes advantage of because no one really knew about it. And so this means that the cost had the potential to be reduced, which would help alleviate some of that hindrance that was given by cost being one of the main factors. The lack of information is where this has been a big issue. That means that there had to be a disconnect between organization on York College's part and on the country club's part. So with that being said, if the country club could get that information out more to college students, and they could advertise that part of the market more, it could spark growth on student activity at the clubhouse, which is definitely what the country club needs. Because right now it's kind of getting stagnant to the point where we aren't keeping customer acquisition. So on a local level, my thinking suggests that getting more information out there will help aid growth. So some of the things that you need to do is utilize the social media. They do have a Facebook page, but their Facebook page, since they haven't really transitioned into that digital technology with the bookings, the event coordinating all online, they make posts, but it's not really much of informative posts. It's really just kind of fun facts and information. For instance, I believe one of the last posts was wishing Alicia back the country club, as we all know, Alicia coming back. So that was one of the last posts. That was months ago. You know, I mean, there's been plenty of information that has came in since then that isn't getting out to the people that like that page and follow that page. So that's something that they definitely improve on a lot, because even when they post information about events, the procedure is to call and to book. And sometimes in our generation, that's not necessarily the most fun thing to do, is to call and speak and have it done in writing, whereas sometimes it might just be easier to type our information and then send it in right there. And then the other biggest potential for growth is obviously the online bookings system. So I know that if you use a big major retail website like golfnow.com, they charge a royalty fee for getting you, for acquiring you that tee time at that time from somebody online. But since we have such a unique location, I think that obviously that would be a great step for growth, because the fact that we're located on one of the major Interstate 80 and Highway 81, I guarantee you that there's thousands of golfers that drive through, York monthly that may not even know that we have a course, and it literally loops around the highway. So, I mean, that right there you could possibly miss out on. Even if you only maybe get 60 more golfers a year, at $50 a piece, that's still a decent chunk of change. That's a part-time employee that you pay. So the royalty fee would be worth it, and not only that, since golf is being maintained as a sport in Nebraska, out in western Nebraska we have a lot of private courses that are top dollar, and a lot of people travel to those. A lot of times people stay at hotels on the way and things like that, and since York is kind of a major crossroads, that's definitely where we can improve. So for my future hopes is to further integrate their traditional ways into the more modern digital era, just like I've been summing up. And I think that if they really do find a plan and they stick to the plan and implement it, they can definitely see growth in the future, and I think that they can have a more successful, higher member count than they ever have before. Thank you.